Sonnies, today we are joined by our great friend, Irving Kass. A name many Sonnies already know as he is the owner of the St. George Inn and our beloved Bin 39 wine bar. But he's also the current chair of the Tourist Development Council. Irving is deeply passionate about the future of St. Augustine's Nights of Lights and the role it plays in helping local businesses thrive. His message is simple but powerful, and sometimes the biggest economic impact comes from the smallest action. What is it, Mel? Leaving the lights on.
Yep.
Today, he is here to talk about what happens this season and what's next and how we can better prepare for the future. Irving, welcome back, or welcome to your first time on Sunny TV.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
It's a great studio. I'm really enjoying being here.
Awesome.
Well, and I have to say, a lot of people might only know Irving as the St. George Inn owner and Bin 39 owner, but
Right.
let me tell you something. This man is extremely impressive.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and just say a few things that this man has done, okay?
She was adamant about doing
Yes,
this. Right?
I wanted to because I think it's important. People only... Well, what else do you do?
Right,
what else
right.
do you do? And it's like, why do I need to give you my resume? But here we go. So major sporting events and global operations. He did the Olympic Games in Los Angeles, 1984, and Atlanta Games in 1996. The NBA All-Star Game, Pan American Games, Super Bowls, 3 of them, PGA events, 7 years with the Durrell Ryder Open, Cadillac Skins Game. Let's see, construction of the Gary Player designed Wolverine course.
Cool.
He did Raymond Floyd.
So he knows what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
Essentially.
Oh,
right?
and this fact is really cool. So not only has he worked with like hotels and things like that, he's also been part of the pharmaceuticals. So he was the one who launched Zithromax in 1991.
Wow.
So that's huge because FYI, that's the only medication I can take.
Hey,
So
Irving, it's important to get into
Holy
this
moly,
conversation
Irving.
because your bio definitely shows that you have chops for this conversation, correct?
Thank you. You know, I try to stay under the radar, but I've been 45 years in the hospitality industry and other Fortune 500s. I worked for, in the 90s, the largest venture capitalist in the world. And I assisted with acquisitions of multi-million-dollar projects. For example, I was working on purchasing Pebble Beach.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So it was that level of acquisitions. I actually had an opportunity to go to Scotland to work on buying Glen Eagles Resort. And so a very diverse background, and these were the top financial people in the country.
So you're not just a wine dude,
Right.
right?
Well, I would prefer to be referred to that, quite frankly.
But looking at Nights of Lights, I mean, you can obviously see, because you see, I mean, all of these incredible acclamations that we just talked about, but you see something there, you see a product, and you're trying to make it more efficient. Can we get into this conversation?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things that I see of Nights of Lights is we have had a series of base hits, and someone comes up with an idea, we throw it in the pot, but we've never stepped back and said, what do we want Nights of Lights to taste and feel like when we get there? What does an A look like? I'll try to oversimplify it. When you're doing a project, and we did this all the time, and when we did acquisitions, the first thing we do is a charrette. And a charrette is a fancy word for a brainstorming group. You bring a bunch of people in the room, and you need to have very diverse points of view. When we bought world-class resorts, you would think it would all be golf experts in this. We made sure there were musicians. We made sure there were educators. We made sure there were historians. Because what you want to do is you want to write a novel, and we're going to do this. It's part of my plan, is we're going to write a novel of a family coming to St. Augustine in 2035.
Okay.
Okay.
And how it feels and tastes. It's full of verbs, not nouns.
Okay.
Because everyone thinks people come for the lights. Nobody comes for lights. They come for a significant emotional return on their investment. You want the grandfather to see the lights through their granddaughter's eyes. And we're not selling lights, we're selling experience.
I think a lot of people these days, it's gone to, for Christmas, instead of presents, they're doing experiences with their families.
And I'll go into great detail about this, but we are not seeing the end zone first and then everything we do, how we get there. And this is a very complex project and process. This doesn't take 3 minutes to explain. This takes a good hour. And I'm going to explain it when we have our first meeting to discuss this.
Okay. So you're creating an association essentially, correct?
Yes, we're going to do a community alliance for Nights of Lights.
Awesome.
And we encourage everybody who's concerned about Nights of Lights, lives in St. Johns County, to join. We want everybody's input. But what we want to do is we want to, as I said, understand what an A looks like. And there's a lot of things. When you start building an A, the first thing you need to do is have big, audacious goals. Without big, audacious goals, you're compromising. Now, they may not make sense. Like someone may throw out the idea, let's build a 30-story Christmas tree. That probably is not appropriate.
Right.
But you don't want to take that out. You want the whole team to throw out every good idea and put it in there. And as you're writing your novel and you're seeing what the experience is going to be, you start saying, okay, this is really feeling right. And once you have it right, the important thing is it doesn't matter if tomorrow I'm not involved and someone else is involved. We know where the end zone is, and someone doesn't come in and say, oh, no, we want to go this way.
Right.
You stay on that path, and every decision you make, if it's super complex, like building a building or picking out a piece of paper for a poster, everything has to go through the lens of that vision. So every decision and every single thing we do helps us when we get to 2035, we've already arrived.
So now, with the Nights of Lights trying to extend them, why is that so important to you as not only a business owner, but as a local resident?
Well,
What do you feel?
Well, there's the major underlying issue is employees are going to suffer financially.
Yes, correct.
And I don't think people in our community realize the impact of spending. I'm going to give a very simple example of economic impact. And if I get a little too technical, please stop me. But our economy for the United States is a supply side economy. That means if you spend money, it ripples through the economy and you have growth. If people do not spend money, you have a slowdown and you have contraction. So you want to encourage people to spend money. The two most vivid examples, not counting COVID because that's statistically all over the map, were in 2001's recession and 2008. Most people remember 2008. If you remember, even the people who the economy didn't affect would not walk around with a Neiman Marcus bag. What happened is people stopped spending. Really simple. If everyone in America, 348 million people, bought lunch versus bringing lunch in a paper bag, it would probably cost them $10 a day. If everyone did that, all 348 million, it's 17.5 billion in economic activity in a day.
Wow.
In a day.
That's crazy.
In St. Augustine alone, with the 14,000-ish, it's $750,000 a day in economic activity. So just the locals eating out versus eating at home for lunch has a 750,000 economic impact either way, either contraction or added. So when people hear my number of 120 million, they say that's impossible. Just everyone having lunch is $750,000 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to eat lunch. I know I eat lunch.
God bless. We all
But,
do.
but
yeah.
what people do is when the economy slows down,
They stop.
more people start bringing their sandwiches. That's what's happening to our economy in an oversimplification.
So I talked to a couple commissioners that say they're against the whole extension of Nights of Lights, and they told me that people aren't coming here, like you just said, for the lights. They're coming here for an experience. So why do we need the lights anyway? What's your response to that?
Well, if we now start, and I'm going to have to go 2 steps back. Tourism for the last 2 years in the United States, and we can talk specifically about our market, has been dropping steadily. And tourism is one of the first things that goes because of consumer confidence.
Correct.
Consumer confidence has been down because of inflation, because of tariffs. There are all sorts of headwinds that are slowing it down. Last month, for example, and it should have been up because we had an extra week of Nights of Lights, occupancy, I saw the reports 3 days ago, occupancy in November was down 6%.
Yeah, that's big.
And the argument everyone's having is, oh, we had an extra week of Nights of Lights. We did worse in November than we did the previous year.
Okay.
We are pacing as a community to do worse in December than the previous year. And January is going to be significantly lower because the Nights of Lights is there. Now, one of the phenomena that happens, even when spending is slowing in bad economic conditions, there's an exception to that rule, and that is the holidays. People spent even if they can't afford it. And in 2001 and 2008, even in COVID, Nights of Lights was better than the market expected it to be.
Wow.
It outperformed because people, while they're cutting back, don't cut back when it becomes a celebration. It's more important than money.
I feel like people got priced out of Disney. I mean,
Oh,
they can't
yeah.
afford Disney World, so they
Yeah.
come here.
So, all being equal, in January, if you have the magic of Nights of Lights attached to it, we will raise demand than just having it without it. It's just psychological, and it's no disrespect to the commissioners, but marketing is highly complex, and people think differently on vacations than they do in real life. I'll give you a very simple example. Publix has 6 packs of beers and then 12 packs and 18 and 24 packs. You hardly see anyone, unless they're running to a party, go in and buy a 6-pack of beer
It's true.
Correct.
because they're too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, when they go to a sports bar and you can get 5 beers for $25, you think you stole it and you're paying twice as much money.
Yeah.
So psychologically, that's a great deal, but in Publix, that's a bad deal. That's how people think on vacation. Money is not a decision maker,
Right.
and we take normal economic thinking and apply it to vacation, and it doesn't. They're 2 different brains. It's the same thing, and most people don't know it. The number one place, and it's probably changed now because of the internet, but going back 20 years ago in my resort life, the number one place that men shopped was on vacations at resorts. And
That makes sense.
74% of all males that stayed with us bought clothing. Because men never go to stores, but they're on vacation and their wife talks them into going. So that's why when you go to fancy hotels, you'll see so many men's stores,
Yes.
which doesn't make sense. It's because that's when people want to buy.
Interesting.
But people, if you don't understand that, you're going to not understand how to meet the needs of your consumer.
So tie it in with Nights of Lights.
Well, tying it into Nights of Lights, the economic side, or just, we need to understand what's important to people. and make sure we provide it. We're not providing enough things to light up a child's eyes.
So in perspective,
Makes sense.
the lights are like a men's store. That's when people come here. The lights are there. That's the catalyst of them enjoying their time, them finding entertainment, blah, blah, blah.
That's our foundation, and we're already starting like on the 50-yard line. So we don't have to like start from scratch on an event, but we don't really understand what people are trying to accomplish by coming to the nights. We have been looking at symptoms, not root problems. Root problems, for example, of Nights of Lights, our biggest problem, and I've been talking about it for years, is we have to manage behavior. Behavior will take all sorts of things that we think are problems, and they will just poof, go away. We will spend less money and create a much better solution for the people coming here.
Okay, case in point.
I'm going to give an example that's, again, very simplistic, and this was when I was buying the Grand Traverse Resort. I went in, and the head of rooms division, which runs front desk, housekeeping, all of that, had a clock on her wall with all fours. And I said, "What's that for?" She says, "Well, we need to get all our rooms cleaned by 4 o'clock because that's check-in time." I said,
Oh, that's cool.
nice. That's nice. And we're woefully understaffed at the front desk. So I sat in the lobby the next day. Took me about 2 hours to
Just
figure
watch.
this out, and I just watched. Guest arrived at 10:30, 11 in the morning, went to the front desk. "Sorry, your room's not ready. Take your bags to the bellman." Then they went to the restaurant and wanted to charge to the room. "Sorry, you're not checked in. You don't have a room number. We can't let you charge. Could you call the desk and see if I can charge?" "Okay." And so now you have another transaction. Then they charge. Then you go back after lunch to the front desk. And "May I check in?" "No, your room's not ready. Come back at 3 or 4. And then they come back at 4, and then they go to the bellman. So you have 7 interactions.
Wow.
There should have been only 2.
Right.
They were working on that. The reality is, if you take and you look at a hotel analytically, 700 rooms, you can't clean 700 rooms at 4 o'clock. You clean 50 of them at 10 in the morning, 50 of them at 11, 50 at 12, 50 at 1, et cetera, et cetera. And so the real problem had nothing to do with the front office. It was that housekeeping wasn't getting 50 rooms ready at 10 a.m., 50 rooms ready at 11 a.m. By doing that, we saved $250,000 worth of payroll, and guest satisfaction jumped up about 75%.
Interesting.
Because we were fixing the wrong thing. But everyone thought we needed to have fancy champagne carts in the lobby,
Right.
and extra staff and music playing.
No, I want my room ready if I show up early.
But they were fixing the wrong
Right.
problem. But they were working their rear end off to accomplish it, but they were solving a symptom of a core problem. That, I can find many examples of that happening right now. And it doesn't mean anyone is doing any malice or anything. It's that they don't know what they don't know. And then they'd wake up. The city was convinced that they were going to change behavior with the $40. It was never going to happen because the market is saying it's $40. And in fact, the city, in no disrespect, has done it wrong because they weren't applying fundamentals of demand pricing. The garage on Saturdays sold out every Saturday since Nights of Light started at 12:30, and we charged $20. The majority of the people who were in that garage were from the I-16 hotels. So we charged the out-of-town customers $20, and then when the local residents came in here after 1 o'clock, we charged them $40, which is exactly opposite of what they were trying to accomplish. We have currently left almost $175,000 on the table just by not managing Saturday correctly and understanding. And I have changed the pricing in my own parking lot every day, and my staff has the ability to make that decision based on how they see the demand is. And we have 5 price points. that's how demand pricing works. If you've ever been on any express lane, some days it's 50 cents, some days it's $2, because they understand market conditions. We can't wait until next year to adjust pricing because we have cost ourselves $250,000. And if you remember when we wanted to extend Nights of Lights, the first thing is we don't have any money.
There it
well,
is.
we had $250,000.
But you let it go.
With all we needed was a piece of tape and a Sharpie.
Yeah.
That was the investment.
Wow.
And we left $250,000 on the table.
Wow.
And no disrespect to the city.
Sure.
They don't know
What they don't
demand
know.
pricing. And it's not that they're doing it bad, but there's so much more, and it's so much more complex that we need to talk about it and understanding what we're trying to accomplish.
You got
We
Irving
had-
for president, dude.
We had County Administrator Joy Andrews on, and she talked about this and that how Nights of Lights is we're in a learning phase right now. But how, Irving, how do you get, I mean, you have this incredible bio, you have this incredible background. How do you get them to listen? I feel like we're hitting a brick wall. We also have been a really a paramount with the uptown businesses and how they feel completely blocked out of the entire festival. So how do we get them to listen?
Well, we're starting this alliance. Our first meeting is after Nights of Lights. And in my world, after Nights of Lights means January 12th.
Sure.
Not February 15th.
No. We need to
We're
jump
having
on
a meeting at 10 a.m. on January 12th at Boat Drinks in Uptown.
Perfect. Great parking.
Rob, Whitney are all in on helping us. They have all sorts of points of view from the Uptown point of view of why they're happy that some things were addressed. Their needs are not being met. I am sure that is true in all sorts of pockets. The more people who come and the more people who put their needs on the table so we build the proper vision, then we can start building it. And it's about process, and it's about vision, and it's about relentless
Consistency.
relentless
Fortitude?
Yes, thank you. And you have to know what a good one looks like. It's very, very important, and you have to have core values. The best example of core values, and a lot of people don't know this, and we're going to use a lot of the principles of a book called Built to Last by Jim Collins. It studied 18 organizations, including Hewlett-Packard, Walt Disney World, Ford Motor Company, and all the similar characteristics that outstanding organizations have. The most important thing is a core value. Do you have any idea what Walt Disney's core value was?
Fun.
You would think it would be fun or imagination or
Yeah.
anything. It's not anything close to that.
What is it?
Cleanliness and friendliness.
Oh, wow. That's
Those are the-
godliness.
Those are the two things that are required in everything they do.
And they do it too, because the parks, you won't find trash on the ground.
And that makes you people like you that are retentive
Yep.
very happy, right?
Yep.
Because it's
Yeah.
super clean,
But
right?
that-
True
but
story.
that is the thread to everything at Disney. When you ask the guy who's sweeping up the waste on Main Street where Cinderella's castle is, he answers you like it's the only time he's ever heard that question, instead of, really?
Yeah.
Just turn around, look.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's ingrained into every fabric of every decision that's ever been done in Disney.
Okay.
But you don't think about it because it's a core value, and a core value is not a statement on the wall.
It's not blinking lights. It's not. Yeah.
It's the amount of commitment and financial commitment you make to those subjects. Cleanliness means I have more cleaners than the list says I'm supposed to have.
Yeah.
Friendliness is I will not tolerate anyone not friendly, and I am going to create an entire
That's why they
environment
have the university.
all of those things are to teach friendliness. It's a commitment to their brand. That is their brand.
Oh my
And
goodness.
people don't understand that because you think it's imagination.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what this book and how we're going to take the principles. We're going to start applying things that if I was going to go into a new business do an acquisition, we would start with these levels of fundamentals. I'm going to offer this. This is a very high-end thing. If someone wanted to hire me to do this, it would be unaffordable.
Yeah.
But I'm doing this for my community because I want to do this. I want to teach people how to do this. Am I going to do it forever? No. I want to get it going and hand it off to other people, but I want to share that. So we have an opportunity to embrace it, and we have an opportunity to tell me F you,
Right.
and just ignore me. It's a free
But you're
country.
not going away.
But I'm going to do all I can to help our community get an A. And I have some big, audacious ideas. And one of them that I think is outstanding, but there will be a tremendous amount of pushback. I want to build Rockefeller Center ice skating rink with a tree for kids to go ice skating downtown for Nights of Lights.
Let's do
That
it.
is
Now
awesome.
you're talking about family-centric Nights of Lights, which is what this should have been in the first place. But that's my big, audacious idea. All the obstacles, like having ice skating in Florida, are big, but there is a company
They're
that
doing it
has,
up in Jack's. Yeah.
they're doing
Off
it in
of-
Palm Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing it off World Golf Village.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm talking about at the level of you could play a hockey game. And why not have high school hockey teams come in and play during Nights of Lights? When you start thinking about what the possibilities are, you do not want to restrict these thoughts, and you don't want to look at what we've done. As Steve Jobs said a long time ago, I don't do focus groups because they can't see what an iPhone is. And if I had done focus groups, I would have never come up with that. You have to think outside the box and then have people say, that's never going to work. But they do,
Yeah.
obviously.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, Irving, this was an amazing discussion.
Irving,
And
thank
where
you
were
so
you when I
much.
was in high school to teach me economics? Because I probably would have gone to class and learned something.
I've been sitting right next to you.
One more time before we let you go, shout out the meeting again. January 12th. You're saying that right?
You are saying that perfect. I'll go a little slower. January 12th.
Perfect. What
Boat
time?
drinks.
What time?
10 a.m. boat drinks. Thanks to Robin Whitney for hosting us all. There's plenty of space in there. If 100 people come up, awesome. If 10 people come up, awesome. But I encourage everyone to attend. I am going to, what we talked about this morning, I've written a cover letter in 3 documents. One is about why I wanted to extend Nights of Lights from an economic point of view. One is my background, and one is the process moving forward. I'm going to send this out to anyone. I have an email list. If I can provide you guys this to put on your website if you like.
Absolutely.
And if anyone wants to contact me, feel free to call the St. George Inn or send me an email, and I will provide my contact information you can put up there, and I'm happy to meet with anyone in the community.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Awesome
much,
chat.
Irving.
Thank you.
Folks,
Thank
we're
you.
going to take a quick break with Maritime Creative and Flashes and Brilliance.